What's up, guys and gals? My name is Splattercat, and we are here, yes indeed, playing Mount and Blade Warband, my #1 most requested game via email from you guys. So I figured I should probably play it. You guys seem to really want me to play this game. I have admitted, in fact, you could indict me on the fact that this is one of my favorite games of all time, hands down. I have like 300 hours played on my Steam account. I just played this game like crazy in single player. I play mods and things of that nature, but for the case of this LP, we're going to be playing the regular vanilla version because I couldn't select a mod. I couldn't decide on one that I wanted to play. With most of the mods, it was either I have played them out at this point to where I have no interest in playing them anymore, or B, they're so complicated at this point in development that I have no idea what's going on in half of them anyways. So I figured we'd start with vanilla, and if this worked out for everybody, if everybody was super stoked about vanilla when we finish this off, maybe we'll do Floris or Brittenwalda, or maybe we'll jump into Pendor or something of that nature. I'm not a big fan of Pendor. I like Brittenwalda a lot. Brittenwalda, in fact, is my favorite, and I almost did it, but I've played it too much. I've just played it way too much to have anything interesting to say about it. So, without further ado, let's start a new game. And so when you start off a new game, if you're new to Mount and Blade and you've never played it, first and foremost, go buy it. Just don't listen to me. Just actually listen to me, but don't listen to anything after this. Like, go buy this game. Don't listen to what I say in this video. Don't watch it. Go treat yourself to playing Mount and Blade Warband for the first time. You need to play this without seeing anything that I do the first time, all by your lonesome, and just jump into the game and have fun. Now, with that out of the way, we're going to pick our gender here. We're going to go with actually, I don't think I've ever played a female character in this game. So we're going to do that. I think that might actually, I've heard that there's like bigotry and things of that nature if you play a female character. It's weird that I have like 300 hours of gameplay and I've never made a female avatar, so that's what we're going to do. We also get to choose our background. It says you were born years ago in a land far away. Your father was a impoverished noble, a traveling merchant, a veteran warrior, a hunter, a steppe nomad, or a thief. I'm going to go with a veteran warrior, I guess. I don't pick that one very often. I'm going to try and be unorthodox here and pick the random stuff that I never seem to pick. As a child, your family scrabbled out a meager living from your father's wages as a guardsman to the local lord. It was not an easy existence, and you were too poor to get much of an education. None of that there book learning. You learned mainly how to defend yourself on the streets, with or without a weapon in hand. You started to learn about the world as soon as you could walk and talk. You spent your early life as well, it seems as though somebody in that background would probably end up being either a shop assistant or a craftsman's apprentice. So I'm going to go with the apprentice. As a girl growing out of childhood, I saw that for a second, I was like, that's not right, and then I remembered we made a female character. As a girl growing out of childhood, I'm not a girl. I'm pretty sure I know what hardware I have at this point in life. You apprenticed with a local craftsman to learn a trade. After years of hard work and study under your new master, he promoted you to journeyman and employed you as a fully paid craftsman for as long as you wished to stay. But then we said to hell with that and threw away our future and decided to be... oh, let's be a troubadour. Actually, do I want to? No, I hate college. Never mind. A troubadour. Let's do that. Why would I want to inflict that on my character? I hate going every single day, but I still do it. I don't know why. Through the distinction felt sudden to you, somewhere along the way, you had become a woman, with breastises and everything, and the whole world seemed to change around you. You set out on your own with nothing except the instrument slung over your back and your own voice. It was a poor existence, with many a hungry night when people failed to appreciate your play, but you managed to survive on your music alone. As the years went by, you became adept at playing the drunken crowds in your taverns, and even better at talking anyone out of anything you wanted. Cool. Well, now we have to decide why we left and stopped being a troubadour. I suppose, well, wanderlust seems like the obvious one if you're a bard. Let's go for lust for money and power. We just want to rub it all over our jubblies. There we go. And so now we know what's going on. We become an adventurer and ride to our destiny. I'm gonna quit without saving because I don't know how this whole thing's gonna play out. It's been like a year since I touched this game last. So there we are. I like how it says realistic. Like the realistic mode, you don't get to... basically it's like Iron Man, but it calls it realistic mode, which kind of makes me giggle because in real life you don't get to save before you do dumb shit. I wish I did. I think about that all the time before I make like important decisions. I'm like, man, I wish there was a save point right before I do this. But that's not how life works. Well, we've got pretty good charisma. Let's allocate our attributes first. I'm gonna try and even everything out to 9 first and foremost. Like, I always try and get everything to 9 first. That's just the way I play the game. There's going to be people who disagree with me. And that was actually one of my big reasons I didn't want to LP this game, is because I was like, well, everybody's going to tell me I'm terrible at a game that I love. I'm going to kill myself. No, I'm going to make decisions in this that I know a lot of people are going to disagree with. But it's a game that I love, and it's a game that I've played a lot of, and it's a game that I have a ton of experience with for once, so I like to put everything up to 9. I actually try and get everything up to 12 first, and then from there I pick a main stat that I just put everything into. And there's kind of 2 lines of thought there, and I'll talk about them once we get there. For now, there's a lot of skills to be chosen from here, and I don't physically have the time to go through what each one does as we play the game. If you're new to Mount and Blade, I would definitely recommend figuring out what each of these do before you allocate points to them on your first playthrough. Actually, no. Put them in whatever you want the first time you play through. That's the way to do it the most fun way. I'm going to go with Iron Flesh because that's going to give us some extra HP. Power Strike, obviously, because we want to hit really hard. Weapon Master is also a good choice in the early game. And at this point, I usually like to put something into either Shield or Athletics. However, as I'm trying to stay in tune with doing something unorthodox, like I tend to play the same character every single time I play this game, I actually think we're not going to go shields. We're going to go two-handed weapons, because I've never made a two-handed weapon build before in my entire online life, and I think that's going to more stress athletics. So let's put 3 points into athletics. I haven't looked at any builds before I do this, so I'm just absolutely 100% just kind of doing this out of my ass right now. So I'm probably going to make some stupid stat decisions. There's no respecs. I can technically do it by going into the game's files. I know how to fix the files. It's very simple. It's in a text file. I can fix my stats if I want to later on down the line, but for now, let's start putting stuff into two-handed weapons so that we're not terrible with them. These proficiencies over here affect how fast you block and how fast you strike against enemies. And then we need a name. We're going to go with Mad Dog McGriddle. Is it going to fit? Yeah, Mad Dog McGriddle. That's a name right there that'll land you a man, ladies. If you ever have a daughter, name her Mad Dog McGriddle. I'm sure that's going to be a recipe for a wonderfully successful life. Your friend, Splattercat. Let's go. We're done. And now we get to choose what she looks like. She's got kind of like a duck thing going on right there. So let's maybe... Oh, never mind. I thought it was going to give me like a different face when I do this. Well, it kind of does. Maybe it's just the shading that made it look that way. It is. It's the shading. Well, we could do like a Gwyneth Paltrow type thing, or I don't know. I have no clue what I want my character to look like right now. That one looks like a nice in-betweener. I'm not even going to fiddle with. Where's the beard option? What if I want to be a lady with a beard? Where are my options? We can make her like a ridiculous old lady with grayed out eyes if we really wanted to. But I think Mad Dog McGriddle, she's going to be young. She's going to be still inspired. She's going to have the fires of youth still inside of her. Should I give her black hair? I don't know. I have actually, you know what, I'm a sucker for the dark-haired ladies. We'll do that. There we go. And then I'm not even going to fiddle with all these because I'm going to end up with a character that looks like a ridiculous frog that got beat with an ugly stick if I start fiddling with all this stuff. So I'm going to leave it as is and let's play the game. Now the final decision it's going to let us do is where we want to start. And I will explain these. There's the Kingdom of Swadia. Swadia is kind of like France. They've got like tons of cavalrymen. They're all about plate mail. They're like the 1100s Europe basically. There's Vagirs. I'm not really, or Vagirs. I still don't know how to say half these. Vagirs has kind of like an Eastern Russian type thing going on. They're like maybe like Czechoslovakian, just basically like whole Eastern Bloc type areas over there. Romanian maybe. There's the Kyrgyz. The Kyrgyz are kind of like Mongols. They have a ton of like bow archers and things of that nature. There's Nords, which are your basic Vikings. You've got Rhodoks, which are sort of the Italians, I guess. They use a lot of like crossbows and things of that nature. They have lots of weird machinery. They wear, if you have a lot of the expanded mods, they are definitely made out to be Italian or Greek or like Florentian. Down here we have the Saranid Sultanate, and they're the final ones, and they're basically like your Arab country, so Saudi Arabia, things of that nature. I've never played with the Saranids. I don't know who I want to play as, actually. I almost universally play Nords. Almost always, like 100% of the time, so I think I should steer away from Nords for once. Let's maybe go... God, I don't even know. I hate cavalry. I'm not a cavalry guy, so the Saranids, not a big fan. Kyrgyz, don't really do it for me. Swadia, that also leaves them out. Let's go with Rhodoks. This may be a huge mistake, but we're gonna do it. Rhodoks tends to get a bad rap, but we'll see how it goes. It says you are exhausted by the time you arrive at the inn in Jelkala. You fall asleep quickly. However, you awake before dawn and are eager to explore your surroundings. You venture out into the streets, which are still deserted. All of a sudden, you hear a sound that stands the hair on your neck on end, the rasp of a blade sliding from its scabbard. And so here's our first combat. It looks like they've given me like a longsword, a teardrop shield, and a crossbow. Let's see if we can get a free shot off with this crossbow here. Where's this guy at? There he is. And straight to the face. And that's how pretty much the entire game's gonna run. He is bloodied, beaten, and now we get to talk to the Merchant of Jelkala. And there he is. Are you alright? Well, I guess you're alive at any rate. I'm not sure that we can say the same for the other fellow. But that's one less thief to trouble our streets at night. Although heaven knows he won't be the last. Anyways, well, maybe you can help me out with something. Let's talk more inside. Out here, we don't know who's listening. I just witnessed you committing murder, and that definitely makes me think I want to hire you for something. He takes you to his house. Let's see what he wants. Now let me explain my proposition. We've always had brigands in the hills driven to banditry by war, debt, or love of violence. Recently, however, they've been getting bolder, leaving their camps in the wild and venturing into town looking for unwary prey. The watch commander tells us it's because of all the fighting on the frontiers. Fewer men to keep an eye on the streets, but I'm not sure what to make of that. It seems to me that the most logical explanation is that these bandits have an ally inside the walls who helps them either go unnoticed and helps them identify particularly tempting targets. But last week, you see, they took my brother. I don't know what my brother was thinking, a lad from a prominent house, out alone after dark in times like these. But I suppose you were too, but you're a stranger here and didn't know how bad things have become. He had no such excuse, but he's family, so what can you do? If you don't protect your kin, then people will start thinking that you can't protect your investments either, and I can't have them thinking that. No doubt the gang will soon send word about a ransom, but I don't care to pay it. So here's my proposition. You look like you've had a bit of experience with a blade, and more importantly, you must have had a bit of fire in your belly, or you wouldn't be coming to Calradia to seek your fortune. Here's what I'm asking. Gather a small party, track down the bandits to their lair, teach them a lesson they won't forget, and get my brother back safely. In return, you'll earn my lasting gratitude and a bit of silver. What do you say? I'm interested, but make it gold. There we are, and so we'll be on our way. Let's go see if he's given us a little bit of money. So we've got 100 dinars. Down in the bottom left corner of the screen, that's where you're always going to see how much money you have. Our character looks sort of yellowy. I feel like she may have like jaundice or something, but maybe that's my fault for going with a pre-build, or maybe it's the tint of my screen. I can't tell. Where's the door to your house? Let me be free. I don't need it, I'll just press the tab key. Now, this is the overmap, which is just a fancy way of saying it's the world map. These colors are going to divide up the different kingdoms, so you've got Swadia here, you've got Rhodoks here, you've got Vagirs up here, Nords, Kyrgyz, and the Serenid Sultanate down here. Now, most of our game is probably going to be spent at war with one of these three, but occasionally, there's no like land disputes or anything. Like, I can take my army and march across them even if we don't have an alliance. Works out perfectly fine. There are mods that fix that and obviously make it a little bit more interesting. But for now, let's go ahead and be on our way. Let's see here. Well, the first thing we want to do is obviously get ourselves an army. So let's go ahead and, oh, what is that right there? 7 looters? 3 looters. Let's go fight 3 looters. That's a fight we can handle all by ourselves. Greetings, nude man with beard. I challenge you to a battle, because that is what females do in medieval times. They find naked men and they challenge them to battle. Let's have a look around, and this is how battles are going to be fought. The game is very much it's almost like Rome Total War, but you can kind of ride around on your own, and you can command people. You're basically a hero, so it's got a little bit of that, oh, I don't know, Dynasty Warriors type thing going on. I've always been a sucker for Dynasty Warriors, by the way. That's a game series that everybody hates on, but I play it all the time. Let's see here. Oh, there they are over there. Let's go ahead and handle our first battle. I'm going to try and do this drive-by style. They are going to be able to throw rocks at me, though, so unless we want to catch a big old chunk of granite upside the dome, I would definitely... Oh, we've already been struck. We've been struck with a rock. And my screen is a little bit smaller. I'm playing this in windowed mode, so my perspective is going to be a little weird. You'll give me a little bit of time to adjust to battling on a... Okay, so we got that guy. Well, not quite. There we go. We killed that guy off. This one right here, if you want to get a really successful strike off, they can block. You want to kind of hit them with the horse, just barely, and then swipe them on the way by. However, it's going to be like one of those acquired skills that I've got to pick up again because I haven't played in a while. There we go. We just jabbed him in the guts. Let's see if we can turn around and fight this guy. We can dismount if we want to, so don't think that we're stuck on top of our horse. I'm going to try not to save Scum at all during this playthrough because I feel like that's kind of a shady thing to do. If we end up getting captured or beaten, we'll just stick with it and live with it, I guess. We started with some pretty killer kicks. I'm happy with that. We've got a beanie, so we can be an awesome hipster now. Got some rocks that we can throw at people if we're feeling particularly devious. You dropped a 21 body armor, but I'm not going to equip it. Everything's got different stats. We can equip something in our hands. There's 4 different equipment right there. Horse, boots, chest piece, and hat. But since this tabard gives us 7 to leg armor, we're more likely to get hit in the legs while we're riding a horse. I think I'm going to leave it where it's at. We are going to loot everything, though, because we can sell it later on. And down here, we got 56 pieces of silver, 42 XP, and unfortunately, we don't have any party members to learn anything, so maybe I should go pick up a few peasants to follow me into combat so that they can actually learn to fight, and we can start developing our army. And to do that, we just go to these little villages and we say, recruit volunteers, and there's actually 7 guys who want to follow me around. We must be looking good. We must have our makeup on. They're like, yeah, we'll come with you anywhere. Let's go. Maybe recruiting is easier when you're a female. I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but we're going to be like the Joan of Arc of Rhodox. At least that's my goal. What is that? 3 looters? Let's go beat them up. Come here, looters. Surrender or die. As you wish, prepare to die. I threatened you with prepare to die, pal. I can't tell you to prepare to die and then you say it right back. It makes for a bad dialogue. That is not entertaining movie script. Gotta come up with something better. I'm gonna run ahead in my awesome beanie and see if I can find... I wish we could pull that down and have like a balaclava mask. We'd be like the only person in medieval times riding around like a crazy Spetsnaz assassin. But it would make me happy. It would make me very, very happy, in fact. Maybe I should try and level up my crossbow skills. I've always been terrible with ranged weapons in this game, though. Did I get him? Nope. I missed. Spectacularly. But if I've got a miss, that's how I'd prefer to do it. Spectacularly. Or fantastically. Oh, I'm gonna get him now. Oh, he moved. Little bugger. Well, let's ride in and help our troops out. Now, I can give my troops orders. Damn it, guys. Get out of the way. Get out. I'm trying to assist you with this You're getting beat up by a dude with a knife, man. You've got like a shield and a pitchfork. How did you let this happen? Well, one of our guys got killed. Maybe I'll start giving orders. 1 killed, 1 wounded. That's fine, as long as they level up a little bit. And we got a prisoner, but he can't come with us, unfortunately, because we don't have the prisoner management skill. That is something I should probably level up because it's a good way to make money in the early game. Alright, so you'll see here it says some soldiers are ready to upgrade. 2 of them are, in fact, and I'm going to turn them into Rhodoc Spearmen. Now, one of the things about Rhodox is one of those armies that is very, very good at range. So they are incredible at like defending castles because their ranged guys are just amazing. There is nothing you can say about them that they cannot do without... There's nothing you can say about their bow skills that will be high enough praise. They are basically the quintessential bow army in this game. Let's continue equipping ourselves with a few more guys there. We've got, what, 10 soldiers now? The downside to this is that they tend to lose a lot in melee combat. Like, if you end up getting wrapped up in point-blank range with the enemy, you are going to regret it, unfortunately. This makes them fodder later on to a lot of the other enemies who have very cool cavalry, amazing, like, siege buster infantry. So, they have a little bit of a problem on open fields. However, their sergeants are alright, and they have no cavalry to speak of, so we will have no horses to play with the entire game. Tell him to surrender or die. It's going to be 10v7. Should work out mighty fine in our favor. I suppose I'm just going to let them charge because it doesn't really matter. We've got a reasonably flat terrain. I mean, it's still... The terrain does affect how fast my horse is going to be able to move. If you're new to the game, you don't know what I'm talking about. Your horse does have to struggle to go up hills and do things of that nature, so... Luckily, you always want kind of a flat land when you're on a horse. If you end up on those weird mountainous maps that are like vertical, very, very miserable. You spend all your time rock climbing and then, you know... Just not that much fun. Not for you or the horsey, which has to carry my fat ass up and down hills anyways. Looks like we took a damage there from something. I'm gonna go run down one of these stragglers up in the front. There we go. Got him right underneath his armpit. You generally want to keep them from... Oh, that was a good throw, man. That was like pro level. I saw that rock and I was like, well, that's gonna hit me in the face. And then I just let it happen anyways. Killed that guy really quickly, and then my little homies should be able to wrap up this lap. Oh, I missed. This tiny screen is throwing me off like wild, but the things you have to do when you don't have a widescreen format screen to make these LPs work. Let's tab it, and the loot, we shall grab it. And then we'll probably take a lot of this stuff back to Jaundice and see if we can make a little bit of money. And we have actually leveled up now. When you level up, you get 1 attribute point, and on top of that, you get yourself another skill point. We'll allocate that in just a moment. But for now, let's go back to Jaundice. And there's actually one of our allied armies. We just started out here. Like, just because you're here, it doesn't mean that you have to stay here. So if we end up being disenfranchised with Rhodox, we can go somewhere else later on down the line. We're not kind of pledged to them at all. We can do that later, and once you pledge your life to them, it becomes a much sketchier thing to leave. Let's sell off all of this random crap. Early on, money's going to be a little bit of a problem. There's a couple ways we can alleviate that, namely by taking jobs or by doing a couple other things that are unsavory. If we get ourselves into a warlike situation, we'll start looting and kind of annihilating peasants and taking all of their peasant treasure. Peasant treasure tends to be like belly button lint and things of that nature, but for whatever reason the vendors keep buying it. I don't question it, I just keep selling it. Now they do have normal bows here. I'm not a crossbow fan. They do hit really, really hard, and they have a little bit of an armor-piercing thing going on, but I think I'm just going to take the cash for now. Let's check out the tavern and see if there's anything useful happening here. Some more need. So there are named characters around. They can join your army, but they all have their own politics and things of that nature, so certain ones of them will hate other ones, and you got to balance their relationships. There are perfect parties you can build where you can have like an absolute, I think, of 8 or 9 named party members. They level up, you get to allocate their stats, which you don't get to do with your normal guys. So they tend to turn into your like personal vanguard that go into battle with you everywhere, and they can be actually very, very powerful as you get further and further along into the game. I guess since we've already gotten our cash, let's go ahead and we're going to move up to the north. We're going to continue recruiting, and I've got a trick that I like to use to level up, and once we get there, I'll let you know how it's going to go. Let's continue getting ourselves some more frontline guys. It says he's a spearman, but he's got a knife. Don't ask. I have no idea. Let's kill off this last group of looters. I think this is probably all we're going to have time for in this episode. But in the next episode, we'll talk about some of my strategies for leveling up some of these lower level troops. I like to get like a Zerg blob, and then I go fight really hard stuff. And whoever survives, it's kind of like survival of the fittest. Whoever survives those big blob battles gets to stay, and they level up really quickly. And I level up really quickly by hiding in the shadows and jumping out like a shinobi ninja and being like, "Hey, yoy!" and stabbing people in the ass left and right. I choose to stab them in the ass. I feel like it's the most demeaning place to stab somebody. It teaches them a lesson they will not soon forget. Oh, and he blocked. Oh, and I got stabbed in my dome. That is bad. That is all around bad. I don't think getting stabbed in the dome is ever a good thing. I don't think anybody has ever taken a stab wound to the face and been like, "Welp, I think that worked out for the better." Oh, and now my troops are here, swinging mildly like idiots. Or swinging wildly. If they were swinging mildly, I'd be disappointed with them. Oh, he blocked. He got that sword up. Just, oh, and stabbed in the back. In true Splattercat fashion, stab him in the back. Shanky, shanky, shank. Alright, so 5 looters are now down. We've got some more treasure. I mean, it's not that great of treasure. It's just a bunch of beanies. I mean, we could open up like a PacSun or something. And then some hatchets. So we've got like a hardware store PacSun hybrid going on. It's like one of those weird Pizza Hut Taco Bells you see every now and again. But the plus side is that people have leveled up one more time. I prefer to get a front line going before I start making ranged troops. Some people are going to disagree with that, but I like to have a core. If you don't have a core of troops, what you're going to find is that your ranged guys just get run up on super hard, and they don't tend to do very well in combat. Let's go ahead and we're going to recruit a couple more times. There's some more looters right there, but I think this big army right here is going to actually clear them out. So there's no point jumping into oh, actually he didn't. Let's see if maybe I can get... Oh, I need to level up too. I'll do that after this fight. Now, I still don't know really how I want to edit this series either. I get the feeling that maybe going into these endless fights doing nothing, it may turn into sort of the Project Zomboid syndrome where I just start talking about what happened during my day and how I bought a big old handful of bell peppers or something. And if you guys don't hate that idea, I guess I can ramble like I used to back in the Towns days. Or I can edit these down, but it takes a lot of work, and since I'm in school right now, not feeling particularly motivated to do so. Plus, if you've ever seen my editing skills, they are abysmal. And that guy called my bluff right there, super hardcore. It's okay though, because I'm going to kill him dead. And he's now down. Throw that rock, man. What are you holding on to that rock for? And down he goes. My troops didn't even manage to get here, but they're gonna cheer like they did it anyways. Like, yeah, that was totally us. Pitchfork dance in the field. Other stuff, we'll go ahead and loot all that. I wish there was a loot all button. I think there is in most of the mods. Oh god, there are dudes like everywhere. This is like the place to level up right now. I get the feeling that the developer increased the amount of looters lately, because I don't recall there being this many looters ever before. Is anybody else ready to level up? No, except for me. Alright, well, since we've got that, I'm going to put intelligence up to 9. Now, intelligence is a little different from other stats. When you put a point into intelligence, you get a free skill point. If you put a point into strength, I believe your damage... No, you get more hit points. That's what it is. You get an extra hit point. Agility, you get something. It increases like your movement speed and extra weapon points. That's what it was. I'm reading the tooltip now. Charisma increases the amount of guys that you can recruit into your party, which is limited right now. I think I'd like to go for prisoner management because that'd be a really good way to make money in the future. Kind of speed things along. This game tends to have like a steep learning curve where you've got to like earn your keep in the earlier game, and then after that it just turns into a giant debauched circle of annihilation, just you killing people left and right. I think I'm gonna go... There's a couple lines of thought here, but I think I'm gonna stick... Actually, I'm gonna save my skill points for now, and then we'll talk about it in the next episode, I think. So my name is Splattercat. Thank you for joining me here at the Nerd Castle for the first episode of what I hope will be a reasonably long-running series of Mount and Blade Warband Vanilla. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Take care, guys, and farewell!